Penn. I just recently graduated from West Branch. It's been like a couple days since I graduated, but never mind. That's not what I'm here to talk to you about. I'm here to talk to you about my life story and my struggles with Asperger's syndrome, which, to be honest, I didn't even know I had until recently. I was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome about 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. A lot of people say you don't look like you have Asperger's, but that's the thing about Asperger's, you don't see it. It all started at grief counseling because my grandmother had died and I didn't know how to take it. And whenever the grief counseling came along, the counselor who I was going to said, "You are showing some symptoms of Asperger's syndrome, which is an autism spectrum disorder." Though I wasn't officially diagnosed until a couple of years back. So, yeah. So, I haven't officially had it for a very long time, so that is what it is. But my parents always knew that I was different. Not that there was anything wrong with me, but just that I was different. And being different is, well, that's what makes us human, I guess.
Well, a formal diagnosis didn't come till he was in his early teens, but we knew he was Bennett at a young age. I was really, really angry and I was sad. This kid is perfect. He's beautiful. You know, when he was born, my ex-wife, before Ben was born, cut a picture out of the catalog. When he was born, we had some pictures done of him. He was about a year old. And it was the same kid. Down to the eyelashes, it's the same kid that was in this catalog. It was the most amazing thing. And I just wish he didn't have to feel alienated. Because he feels really alienated.
I'm Nick Myers. My brother is Zachary Paul Myers. He has autism and he's like really deep in the spectrum. He's like pretty severe. Honestly, I feel like me and my mother are the closest two people to him. He doesn't really talk to people that much and doesn't really hold relationships with people very dear to him. But you can tell when he really loves somebody, and I feel like that's definitely his immediate family that he loves the most. And my job, the case I got assigned to was my brother's. So I literally just hang out with him all day and try to help him with different skills and things like that. So I feel like I'm pretty up there on his scale of personal level things just because I'm with him so much. I'm probably with him more than anybody. My mom has told me several times that like back then, like now autism is becoming more and more, and there's some kids that I don't even think necessarily have it, but they jump to the conclusion that it's autism right away. But back then, 27 and a half years ago or whatever, it was not very common at all. So he was actually born in California and then lived there for like a year, and then they came to Pennsylvania. But I know that my mom was like, this kid is different. He's definitely, he's not acting the same. He's not talking, and he's getting older and older now, and it still isn't grasping the things. Like, I don't know exactly how long it took him to walk or anything like that, but I can remember even when I was born and started to be able to grasp things, he was not talking like a normal person would. I was progressing faster than him, and I was 2 years younger.
As a family with two not one, but 2 children, that we go through a lot of isolation, being, you know, that uncomfortable taking the boys when we go to different functions, because it really depends on how they feel about where we're going. And you know, sometimes they are comfortable because we're someplace with a lot of people, and sometimes they're not. So we often stay home, and we don't do a lot of things that probably most families do. And when they get together with friends, and then it's not like with some families when they get together and they'll have an event and the kids are running around playing together and having a good time, and the families are sitting around talking. You know, we're usually always aware of what Casen and Connor are doing, and then having to make accommodations about, you know, for them while they're there. So if they're uncomfortable, then we'll go outside, or you know, we won't stay as long. And those are some of the things I don't think people realize, that you know, we're always aware of what they're doing and trying to help them so they fit in, and you know, people feel comfortable being around them. They were
they're 19 now, but they actually was like
they were
3 or 4 years old.
They were 3 and a half, and they went to the preschool down at the Presbyterian Church, and they were having difficulty making the transition into preschool. And it was interesting because what they were identifying as problems, we didn't see as problems because they had been around us for 3 years, and so we didn't notice anything. And they said, you know, we think they may have problems with their hearing because when we call their names, they won't respond to us. So what happened is then we said, okay, well, let's do some assessments through the intermediate unit. And we went through several assessments, and probably by the time we got finished with those, it was a good 6 months later, and they were identifying them as having some very quirky things that they would identify as being autistic. And at the time, you know, when you talked about autism, that most people thought of Rain Man, and we were saying, I don't really think that this is accurate, because
Although this could have been like maybe 12 years after that movie.
Yeah.
We're talking 2000 or something.
but they really still were talking about high functioning autism. So they were pretty well functioning. They had really good language, and they interacted with us, and so we thought maybe it was something else, and really didn't. We asked them not to give them a diagnosis right away until they got into school. So it was about 3.5, 4, but they stayed in preschool for probably 3 years because we didn't think they were ready to go to school yet.
We held them back a year, you know, to be in this reason. That's why they're 19 now. But,
And then they're going to stay longer in school.
you know, they want to stay till they're 21, so,
Yeah.
which is no problem with us. I mean, we don't mind that at all.
But there were things that we noticed now in retrospect. We noticed some quirky things about them when they were younger. They would do a lot of echolalia, which is a delayed echolalia. So they could actually repeat some of their favorite shows.
Word for word, yeah.
They loved Kipper and Kipper and Tiger. They used
When
to
they're
take
2 or
roles.
3 years old, they would see
Yeah.
them. Yeah, PBS.
You know, like 2 years
And
old.
they would do it in English, you know.
British accent.
Yeah, British accent.
Sound effects.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, we just thought that was kind of a twin thing.
It didn't seem to me that it was really, I don't know, their disability wasn't great or anything. It wasn't, it just seemed to me,
You took it better than I did.
Yeah.
I was really devastated by it. I mean, when they said, well, it was confusing too, because they said, oh, well, your sons aren't autistic. They have PDD-NOS, which is a form of under the spectrum, it's a form of autism, so it's pervasive developmental disorder not otherwise specified for a really long term. So they said they have PDD-NOS, and we didn't even know what that was, thinking, oh, well, maybe they don't have autism, but it's just another way of saying that they had autism.
He likes a schedule. He doesn't necessarily care what it is, but he loves a schedule. He's like, has to be on a schedule. Every single Wednesday, Wednesday, he gets up in the morning with like a smile on his face because Wednesday's his day. He loves going to Silver Screen because we do that every Wednesday, and he loves renting movies that are already on because that's a structure. We always go out to eat on Wednesday too, and he picks the restaurant, and he always picks a place that either has pizza or cheeseburgers with only ketchup and cheese on them, because that's all he likes, pretty much. I work with him on, we have an activity called expanding your palate, and that's just like him trying something else, anything else. Really, he likes to be kind of left alone. He would prefer to stay in his room and watch movies. He has a huge collection of movies where he's like, he usually takes those movies and takes them off the shelf and puts them in the DVD player when they're coming on TV somewhere. So he has it memorized, like the whole guide and everything that's going to be coming on. And he likes to put in movies at the same time that they're coming on. He's rented movies we already owned before. His life is about movies. You can like literally ask him, when was this movie made, and he can tell you when it was made and the year it was released and who stars in it and all that stuff. To my knowledge, every person that I've ever met with autism has had that thing that has been like, this is my thing and this is what I'm obsessed with. And his is definitely movies.
Casen enjoys the band very much.
He enjoys music. Both of them enjoy music very much.
To the point that it's obsessive though. He's just keeps talking to Mr. Mandel, says how are we going to make the band bigger and that kind of thing. And
they enjoy, Casen enjoys his art, so he's still doing his painting, and they love being outdoors. So they usually, we did all the Boy Scout stuff, so both of them are Eagle Scouts now. So we did a lot of camping.
We helped them along, but they work hard at it, the merit badges they needed to do.
They love hiking and they love being outdoors, camping. They love nature. Casen, that's one of his dreams, is that he would like to go and do conservation or environmental science.
And Connor, he enjoys his music. I mean, he listens to music a lot. I mean, he probably can tell you of all the different groups and the songs that they sing.
History buffs, they like, and they love to travel with us. We're actually going to go on a trip this year, so they like to travel with us.
I go to Front and Center Productions. It's a company out of Phillipsburg. They're a non-profit. They're an absolutely gorgeous production. Steve does a really good job with his kids, and I've been a part of that for 7 years. According to medical professionals, I, being aspiragic, should not be able to go up on stage and to give these kind of productions. I shouldn't be able to go up on stage and sing a song in front of 600 people. I shouldn't be able to do any of that. But you know what? I do that in spite of that. Not just because I enjoy it. I do enjoy it. I thoroughly enjoy it. But I also want to do it to prove to everyone who says that I can't, because I have Asperger's syndrome. I want to prove to everyone that I can.
My twisted face, there's not the slightest trace of anything that even hints at kindness, and from my tortured shame, no comfort, no escape. I see, but deep within is utter blindness, helpless. Down in the city, and the sun shines on the bay. Oh, I wanna be there in my city. Oh, 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 oh.
I've actually talked to the child development class that's up at the school and tried to explain to them that not to be fearful of kids who are on the spectrum. I usually try to explain to them that kids on the spectrum sort of have a different view of life, and I think that's what's challenging about being a friend with them, because Casen and Connor, they really are more focused on the present time and how they're feeling.
As a normal friend, you have a give and take kind of relationship, but it's always to the point where Casen or Connor will be more focused on themselves than somebody else. Mm-hmm. It's just the way the nature of the autism is. It's nothing against the other person, and they might not realize it. That's what they are going through every day.
But I think that the funny thing is when they ask us some things about that they're not sure about, like girls. So they'll ask us, what are we supposed to do? Are you supposed to hold their hand? So that's always kind of funny when we're, because they're not naive, but they're very unsure of. They don't pick up from other people all the time.
They used to be like that. It was like, this kid has autism and this one doesn't. It was never like, well, you have a little bit of it. So I mean, really explaining the spectrum now is big, because I know kids with autism that play sports and they're on teams with people, and they might get pulled out of one English course, but they're in every other class, and they're in gym class, and they're physically, they have no limitations, mentally a little bit. So it's really explaining to a person that wouldn't know what autism is. It's like, autism is a disability, but for some people it's way less of a disability than it is for others.
A lot of people think of Asperger's as a mental disorder. It's not a disorder. I don't think it's a disorder. I think it's just a trait. It's just like a character trait they have. It's a quirk. And when you have this kind of quirk that I have, you learn things differently from everyone else, and everyone gives you some really weird looks. When I tell you it's not weird. It's what I do. It's how I think. I'm going to explain this the same way I explained it to my brother, who is 10 years old. He's younger than me. Autism. People will tell you that autism is a disorder. Like I said earlier, it's not. Autism is just a physical, almost rewiring of the brain. If you think of your brain as, instead of thinking of it as the crinkled pink and gray kind of thing that's in your head, think of it as wires connecting into outlets. And all these outlets are everywhere across your brain, and these wires are connected. The red wire goes in the red outlet, the blue wire goes in the blue outlet, the green wire goes in the green outlet, and so on. Sometimes when kids are bored, their wires are different. Like sometimes the blue wire will go into the red outlet. It'll still fit, it'll still work. It's just not the same color. That's what autism is. It's just a rewiring of your brain. But sometimes it gets messed up, and that's okay, because it still works.
The biggest problem with any school, public, private, parochial, elementary, or high school, is acceptance. Not just of people with autism spectrum disorders, but of fat kids, of kids with pointy ears, of kids that wear blue socks instead of white socks. I mean, kids are mean. Kids are really, really mean. And if they can find any sort of weakness in your armor, they chink away at it until they have you bleeding. And they've done that to Bennett, he handles it gracefully. I really wish that people wouldn't bully, regardless of what it is, bullying. Now, do I think that it's... I don't understand kids killing themselves over bullying, because words are words are words. But yeah, I understand that bullying is an issue, yeah. And I think it's been an issue for Ben. And I think that it's translated to how he interacts with his brother a little bit. Sometimes he's a little tougher on his brother than he should be. We all bleed red blood. You break a bone, you get a cast, you get a burn, they put a bandage on you. But the internal stuff that you don't see, those are the things that usually hurt kids worse.
Just like, don't take crap, you know? Like, if you're getting picked on, don't just accept it because you have autism or any disability for that matter. Definitely don't just take it. I'm not saying rebel and start a fight or attack the person or whatever, but definitely don't just take it on the chin and be like, well, I do have this disability, so I guess what he's saying is true. Because Zach is extremely low functioning, and he still has progressed so much. So for somebody who's high functioning or somebody low functioning now, with the amount of plans they have in place to really help them progress, like that, you can come so far. Don't take the criticism because you can do it. You're better than that, and don't be afraid to go to somebody and be like, this kid's giving me a hard time, because I am so-called normal, and I've went and told on people, you're not a tattletale. Like, there's no reason that you should be picked on for anything, especially a disability like that is absolutely real.
So what do you want to do when you grow up?
Oh, well, what I was thinking is, like, when I finish high school and when I go to college, like, what I was thinking of is I like to be a scientist, a biologist, stuff in the environment to protect, and even I like to protect wildlife and other living things, especially us humans. It can be anybody.
Hey, listen, do you consider yourself as being disabled?
I hope not. I thought I am. Am I? No, I'm very good at controlling myself. Yeah, when I was in school, I always stay relaxed and focused. And
What do you find the most challenging thing about in high school? Like, what's the most challenging thing when you go to school? Meeting girls? Making friends?
yes.
Oh, meeting girls?
Yeah, oh yeah, that too. Like because not every girl is what I like. I like to have a girl that's more the most beautiful, the most sweet, and a great voice. I mean, a beautiful voice. Actually, I don't think it's a good idea for me to get married because having kids is hard.
It is hard work. What about having a girlfriend?
Yes, I just like to have just me and my loved one, me and my true love.
Okay.
Do I have any worries about Ben in the future and plans after I'm gone? I think that Ben's going to be a success of whatever he endeavors to do. I really do. As long as he can maintain focus, I think that he'll be a fabulous father if he ever has the opportunity. A better father than I could have ever dreamt of being. In the case of a high-functioning autism stricken child, is probably the same advice that you get from, we were talking about bullying earlier, the anti-bullying campaign. It will get better. You're going to mature, and you're going to learn on your own the best ways to cope with things that work for you. They might be different than anybody else on the planet copes with things. But when you mature, you're going to find what works best for you. And if I had to give advice to any parent with a child going through the process of being diagnosed with autism or high-functioning autism disorder, it would be to, I guess more so than with kids without the disorder, is early on you have to let them be them. You just have to, because they are not going to be you. They're not going to conform to what you think is right or wrong, because they don't think about those things the way you do. And there's not a drug on the planet. There's not a church, synagogue, or a prayer meeting that's going to fix it. You just have to let them be them. Yeah. And if you let them be them, they'll shine. Yeah. They'll shine.
Each morning I get up, I die a little. Can't really stand on my feet. Take a look in the mirror and cry. Lord, what you doing to me? I spent all my years of believing you. I just can't get no relief. Lord, somebody, can anybody find me? Somebody to love.
Time